Well, hello there. Good morning to you all. So this now will be my review for Bleach 550 called Blazing Bullets. So this was a very interesting chapter because first of all we have the returning to the 12th division uh, at headquarters with Mayuri and asking or ask Naklevar, and they are kind of exchanging words, and basically apparently Naklevar says initially that it will be a bother, let's say, to fight against Mayuri, so he will be giving up, so he will be leaving. And Mayuri, he does not move an inch, and then asking Naklevar kind of questions, but you are not following me down and such, but Mayuri kind of did saw the trap apparently, because if Mayuri did follow Naklevar or try to pursue him, he will enter in the area or into the range apparently of the powers of Naklevar. So I'm quite interesting to see exactly what are the powers of Naklevar, and if they are indeed, let's say, dimensional powers, something like that. I'm quite curious to see what they mean. There is a quote, according to this convention, that could be telling us what is the power of Naklavar. The quote is that I'll have to try many different patterns to get you die or to kill you. So what getting different patterns means, could it mean that Naklavar kind of has the power to control the flow of, let's say, time, and could eventually kind of set off timelines with several destinies or with different destinies, something along those lines. After all, Naklevar is Sternritter D, so D for could stand for dimension or something like that. So it's possible. And then we go to um, the fight of Soifong against BG9, and eventually the the sound of the fight kind of reached this place, the 12th division, and basically Naklevar kind of says to Mayuri that Juabach, this is also according all to plan of Juabach, that he was expecting that the captain that did lost their bankais, they will try to master other kind of powers to kind of counterbalance the losing of their bankais. So apparently also the part of all the captains that lost their bankais being able to access other kind of power, it was also into the planning of Juabah. So well, that's good. And then we have we return to the scene with Rengiku, Matsumoto, Itsugaya, and Basby. And basically, Basby is kind of destroying the ice that kind of hit him, and he basically initially is only complaining about the ruin that with his uniform, and at the same time we see the battle between BG9 and Soifong. And this during the battle of BG9 and Soifong that we learn that BG9 is not human or a living human, because he himself confessed that he is not human. And but there is a situation that he then goes into attacking Soifong, and he did finish apparently the analysis process of the Mukyu Shunku, that move that Soifong used on the last chapter. And basically BG9 says in the end that he will not be using the power of her Bankai against her because she is not worthy of it. Uh, he kind of launches a furious attack against Wei Fong. She appears apparently evades the blow, but not because BG9 actually apparently he found an opening into the technique of Soi Fong. So that was quite. And then we see an explosion, so probably BG9 setting up an explosion against Soifong. We need to see if she will survive or no, but like I did say a few chapters ago, I honestly think that at this point in history, Omaeda was saved by Soifong, and if Kubo does tries to bring another character in, probably in the next chapter or in the next one after this, probably Soifong will be saved in the end by Yoruichi. That's my betting, honestly. And that's the only thing he could do to save, in the way, Soifong, and also to bring back Yoruichi again to the plot. So I think it's highly possible that eventually it's Yoruichi that will be going to beat down BG9, and she will save Soifong. That's my betting in terms of this battle. And then we return to Dasby against Matsumoto and Tsugaya. And basically, Basby is saying that explaining to Itsugaya that his flames are not weak. And he basically goes on explaining how the Stern Reader survived the attack or the clash against Yamamoto. And apparently they survived because the fire of Basby is more hotter and intense than the fire of Yamamoto, apparently. So basically, from what I understand, Busby used his own powers to nullify the powers of Yamamoto, and thus saving all the Stern Readers that were supposed to be burned to death. Apparently, that was what happened. So, if the level of power of Busby is in this level, Isugaya basically is screwed. And actually we see that at the end of the chapter, that Itsugaya tries to attack Basby again with the ice. He instantly melts it, and eventually Itsugaya kind of decides that they will retreat, and he kind of puts a ice barrier. But then we have a scene where Basby basically uses a finger and destroys the barrier, and basically, apparently, he trespasses Itsugaya into his heart. Obviously, this is kinda. I don't think that it's really Itsugaya, because if you remember, Itsugaya still has that power that he can use to kinda set a mirror image to his enemy, judging that they are hitting him when in reality they are not. So I guess that this is Itsugaya using this technique. That's my first opinion. If indeed Itsugaya was hit by the blow of Basby, I only see I did see a situation that could happen, that if Itsugaya or Matsumoto are near to be killed, I honestly see that they eventually could be saved by Ishin, eventually by Kukaku, Ganju, and eventually the Full Fingers, maybe, eventually. Uh, but I honestly think that if Itsugaya and Matsumoto are beaten down by Basby and are near that, I think that it's highly possible that Kubo bring Ishin to the story and make him save them from Basby. So that's quite interesting, and also it kind of makes sense that Ishin ends up fighting Basby, because if you remember, Basby did say that his powers could nullify the powers of Yamamoto, so implying that Basby is more powerful than Yamamoto, or his flames in the list are. So what if eventually then Basby suffered the same fate at the hands of Ishin? Because we already know that Ishin power is fire, is a fire affiliation. So what if the power of Ishin can set off the power of Basby? I honestly see that coming. That Ishin will be the one to kill Basby, or eventually Kukaku, maybe. But I will go for now with Ishin. So that's it. So I like the chapter. It was good to see development of the battles. We also have a little story progression, because we do have Naklavar explaining to Mayuri that all that happened, even the training of the captains without Bankai, all is according to the plan or the predictions of Chuabash for this invasion or for the war. Um, we also have a little glimpse about what could be the powers of Naklavar. We have, let's say, a confirmation that BG9 is not human, and probably is kind of a robot or android or something like that. And we learn that Basby, in fact, is quite powerful, and apparently he was the one that saved all the Stern Readers from being burned to death by Yamamoto. So that was an interesting chapter. We have character development, some story progression. The fact that Basby can cancel Yamamoto's powers or nullify them was kinda a little far-fetched, in my opinion. But okay, I will not say more on that. It was a little stretched. Kubo did stretch it a little bit, but in my opinion. But that's it. So this is my review for episode 515. Hope you enjoy. Stay well, peace, and see you soon.